What if I told you that everything we've been taught about, healthy aging, is fundamentally flawed? That the entire medical establishment, society, and maybe even you yourself have been focusing on completely the wrong thing? Stick around, because today we're going to shatter some deeply held beliefs about what it means to age well. And I promise you'll walk away with a completely different perspective that could transform not just how you think about your future, but how you live your life right now. Here's the uncomfortable truth nobody wants to talk about. We've been conditioned to believe that healthy aging means collecting as few diagnoses as possible, like some twisted game where the person with the cleanest medical record wins. But what if that entire framework is not just wrong, but actually harmful? What if it's preventing millions of people from living their most vibrant, fulfilling lives? Subscribe to the channel so we can benefit you by creating more great content with you in mind. And as a thank you, download your free guide from the link in the description below. Let me paint you a picture that might sound familiar. You walk into your doctor's office for your annual checkup, and your heart rate increases slightly as you wait for the results. Blood pressure, cholesterol levels, blood sugar, bone density. Each number becomes a verdict on your worth, your future, your success at this thing we call aging. If everything comes back normal, you breathe a sigh of relief and pat yourself on the back for being healthy. But here's where it gets interesting and problematic. This obsession with perfect numbers and clean bills of health has created what I call the myth of the perfect patient. We've somehow convinced ourselves that health is simply the absence of disease, that aging successfully means dodging every possible medical condition like we're in some elaborate game of biological dodgeball. But this mindset is not only unrealistic, it's creating unnecessary anxiety and missing the profound beauty of what healthy aging actually looks like. Think about it for a moment. How many people do you know who spend their days worried about their next test results, their next screening, their next potential diagnosis? They've become so focused on what might go wrong that they've forgotten to focus on what's going right. They're living in a constant state of medical hypervigilance where every ache, every change, every normal variation of an aging body becomes a source of fear rather than simply part of the human experience. But here's what's really fascinating, and this is backed by decades of research. Some of the most vibrant, engaged, and genuinely healthy older adults I've encountered are people who have chronic conditions. They're managing diabetes, living with arthritis, dealing with heart conditions, yet they're traveling the world, starting new businesses, falling in love, learning new skills, and contributing meaningfully to their communities. Meanwhile, their supposedly healthier counterparts, those with perfect lab results, might be sitting at home, isolated and anxious, waiting for the other shoe to drop. This reveals something profound about the nature of health that our medical system has largely overlooked. True health isn't about your diagnostic status. It's about your ability to live fully, engage meaningfully, and adapt resiliently to whatever life throws your way. It's about waking up each day with energy, purpose, and connection. It's about maintaining your independence, your curiosity, and your capacity for joy, regardless of what medical labels might be attached to your chart. Let me share something that might surprise you. There's a growing body of research showing that many of the changes we attribute to normal aging are actually the result of lifestyle choices, not the passage of time itself. Studies on centenarians, people who live to be over 100, reveal that the vast majority don't just survive to extreme old age, they thrive. They're mentally sharp, physically active, socially engaged, and emotionally resilient well into their final years. What's their secret? It's not perfect genetics, though that plays a role. It's not avoiding all medical conditions. Many of these centenarians have dealt with various health challenges throughout their lives. Instead, it's something much more accessible to all of us. They've built what researchers call a robust health ecosystem. This ecosystem consists of several interconnected elements that work together to promote not just longevity, but vitality. The first pillar is purposeful movement. Notice I didn't say exercise in the traditional gym sense, though that can certainly be part of it. I'm talking about movement that feels natural, enjoyable, and sustainable. Maybe it's gardening, dancing, walking with friends, playing with grandchildren, or practicing yoga. The key is consistency and joy, not intensity or punishment. The second pillar is nourishing nutrition that goes beyond restrictive dieting. The healthiest older adults tend to eat a variety of whole foods, often sharing meals with others and maintaining a positive relationship with food. They're not obsessed with the latest superfood trend or eliminating entire food groups. They're focused on eating in a way that supports their energy, mood, and overall well-being while still allowing for pleasure and social connection around food. Sleep, the third pillar, is where many people struggle as they age, often dismissing poor sleep as inevitable. But quality rest is absolutely crucial for everything from immune function to cognitive health to emotional regulation. The good news is that most sleep issues in older adults are addressable through lifestyle modifications, environmental changes, and sometimes medical intervention when appropriate. But here's where it gets really interesting. The fourth pillar is often the most overlooked, yet potentially the most important: social connection and community engagement. Loneliness and social isolation are now recognized as major risk factors for cognitive decline, depression, cardiovascular disease, and even premature death. In fact, chronic loneliness has been shown to be as harmful to health as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. The healthiest older adults are those who maintain strong social bonds, contribute to their communities, and continue to form new relationships throughout their lives. They're not waiting for others to reach out. They're actively cultivating connections, whether through volunteering, joining clubs, taking classes, or simply being the person who organizes the neighborhood coffee mornings. This brings us to perhaps the most revolutionary aspect of healthy aging, the concept of continued growth and development. We've been sold this narrative that aging is about gradual decline, that our best years are behind us, that we should lower our expectations and accept limitations. But what if that's completely backwards? What if aging is actually an opportunity for unprecedented growth, wisdom, and contribution? What if the combination of life experience, emotional maturity, and freedom from many of the constraints of younger years creates a unique opportunity for flourishing that's impossible at any other life stage? Consider this. Many of the world's greatest achievements have come from people in their later years. Grandma Moses didn't start painting until she was in her 70s. Frank Lloyd Wright designed Guggenheim Museum when he was in his 70s and 80s. Julia Child didn't publish her first cookbook until she was 50 and didn't become a household name until her 60s. These aren't exceptions to the rule. They're examples of what becomes possible when we reject the limiting beliefs about aging that society has imposed on us. When we stop seeing ourselves as gradually breaking down and start seeing ourselves as continuously evolving, remarkable things become possible. This shift in perspective requires us to become advocates for ourselves and others, to challenge ageist assumptions wherever we encounter them, and to refuse to accept limitations that aren't actually necessary. It means speaking up when healthcare providers dismiss symptoms as just getting older, when employers make assumptions about our capabilities, or when family members try to wrap us in protective cotton wool. The research on epigenetics, how our lifestyle choices can actually influence gene expression, shows us that we have far more control over our aging process than we ever imagined. The choices we make about how we move, what we eat, how we manage stress, how we connect with others, and how we engage with the world around us are literally changing our biology at the cellular level. This isn't about denying the reality of aging or pretending that our bodies don't change over time. It's about recognizing that those changes don't have to define our experience or limit our possibilities. It's about understanding that health is multidimensional and that medical diagnoses are just one piece of a much larger puzzle. So here's my challenge to you. Stop waiting for permission to live fully. Stop postponing dreams until you get a clean bill of health. Stop defining yourself by your limitations instead of your possibilities. Whether you're 30, 50, 70, or 90, you have the power to create a version of aging that's vibrant, engaged, and meaningful. True healthy aging isn't about avoiding every possible medical condition. It's about building resilience, maintaining connections, pursuing purpose, and approaching each day with curiosity and joy. It's about redefining what success looks like in later life and refusing to accept society's diminished expectations. The future of aging is in your hands, and it's time to make it extraordinary.